Is it? Is this a thing? Are we here? Are we doing this? Is it too good to be true? Or will someone drop? Who knows? In the Carry Me tournament, no technical difficulties are out of bounds. Bobland can and may still actually screw us over. It's definitely possible. So we are just waiting on sporefreak to ready up, and then we will get going with this game. Airmech is being played, ladies and gentlemen. Holy fuck, it has only taken you 55 minutes to reach this moment. Sporefreak is the bomber, Guard10 is the Warthog that he's attempting to carry. Warthog tends to be pretty fat, so that may be a difficult task for him. Meanwhile, MonsterScuff is doing the same thing for another Warthog, but his Warthog is being piloted by a useless fat man, otherwise known as Beppo. I don't know why his parents named him that either. Now, Beppo, he is an Irish dude, is my understanding. He's got a background shrouded in mystery, but MonsterScuff is going to be playing that paladin on the green team. And this should be interesting. I have no idea what's going on right now, but I'm just happy that things are indeed happening. So we've got MonsterScuff is going to just be ferrying a couple of tanks around, kind of standard, kind of boring, that's okay. Same thing's kind of happening on the Carbon team. The map is dual, so the opening of the map tends to be fairly consistent. Both teams go for their corners, both teams go for the close outposts. Once they lock that down, it will generally be a toss-up between moving towards the middle or towards those side outposts as well. So, a couple different competing objectives here. Beppo getting a ratchet in there, making sure that those tanks stay healed up. Wouldn't want them to explode now, would we? Sporefreak coming in for a scalp, maybe doing a little bit of bombing there. But Beppo, with the amazing hit scan, cannot miss. Unfortunately, he is not a motivated assailant, so will not actually be able to kill Sporefreak, even though he is completely able to. Beppo likes to tease. He's one of those sorts of dudes who just likes to dangle that carrot out in front of you. And that's okay. So middle is contested. Looks like both teams going to shuffle some tanks forward. Carbon team, Sporefreak pranking out a couple of Buckies. Bucky's good for long-range support, but a little bit useless once they actually engage other units that aren't Buckies. Generally speaking, Buckies, when you compare them to virtually anything, tend to be shit, and that's okay. So MonsterScuff going with just Longhorn, couple of flackers. That prevents the bomber from doing flybys. He's a little bit concerned that there's going to be that damage over time effect. Basically, bomber bombs have napalm, and they will slowly but surely, eventually, do a lot more damage than he's comfortable with. These Buckies are going to be able to take out that neutral Goliath, which will free up Carbon Team to start transplanting their units over to the small peninsula. So Guard10 is actually going to pull those on follow. Buckies have a little bit weird AI though. They zonk out, they get stoned, and whenever they see something, they have a very short attention span. So because these Buckies did encounter another Goliath in their maximum range, they are not going to be doing anything useful with their lives anytime soon. Whereas MonsterScuff is just going to start killing all of them because he's a paladin. He don't give a fuck about taking bullets to the chest. And there's not nearly enough anti-air here to try and dent through that heavy frontal paladin armor. These Buckies would be so much more useful if they were actually shooting something that the green team owns. Unfortunately, they are still Buckies. It's like saying only human, but more of an insult. So green team should be able to get some creeps in here for now, but it's still not going to be enough because Carbon does have artillery as well as Longhorn on the north side of this outpost. So green team is just playing this as a shuffle around sort of game. Being a paladin with a completely useless Warthog bot teammate, that's completely understandable why you might be a little bit more conservative with your units. Beppo suiciding a unit at the fort between two socketed T-99s and a socketed Tesla tower. That Longhorn evaporates before you can even sneeze, honestly. Just from all the vapor left in the air, the metal fragments and shards. It could be a kind of irritating dust, honestly, when tanks start to disappear like that. Beppo is helping with the ferry a little bit. He is bringing these units back, promptly setting them on the capture command. Now, this is clever of Beppo because what he's doing is he's making sure that the units feed in single file. This is going to make sure that all of these Longhorns are outgunned when they do actually arrive at the carbon line, and they should get taken out pretty easily. This is all part of Beppo's plan, you see. MonsterScuff trying to throw a wrench into that plan, though, does not approve of Beppo being aggressive with these units. Because ultimately the units dying is undesirable for MonsterScuff. See, Beppo is more interested in taking casualties because at the end of the game, the more explodey bits that have happened, the higher the numbers get, and bigger numbers is usually better. But Beppo is going to get taken out by Guard10 with that ground-to-air shooting. But he does manage to order in these tanks right before he dies, make sure that he can sacrifice every last one of them. Now, MonsterScuff has realized this is a lost cause ages ago, so he should be doing something useful over in the corner. Now, Beppo's been a great distraction, making sure that all of those units are as derpy as possible. MonsterScuff actually wrestling this outpost away. Beppo getting a kill, revealing his master plan all along was to let MonsterScuff capture this over. sporefreak frantically telling Guard10, hey, you should be looking at the base, but Guard10 not particularly concerned, just going to be hanging out trying to press forward with what he's got, but he too is feeding in these tanks single file against socketed T-99s, but sadly Beppo did not have enough on the defense. And so those will start to get taken out. The Buckies also long range, going to be able to take out most of those Longhorn tanks that are in the defense. So MonsterScuff will have to babysit those. Unfortunately, the mech of Beppo, he's a Warthog. He would have so much fun if he were to land in these. So mad props to MonsterScuff for being able to carry this horrifically bad teammate through such adverse conditions. MonsterScuff with those sorts of distraction drops, getting behind the tanks, that makes them spaz out just a little bit. They don't know what to do. Got two socketed T-99s. That is some serious firepower. If Guard10 just creeps a little bit closer, he's going to be having a mighty bad day. But there's just way too many carbon units on the dance floor right now, so we'll see if Guard10 continues to push forward with this, or if these units are going to be sitting derelict for the next 35 minutes. In this tournament, anything is possible. Even the possibility of not having a game at all, that is also possible. So we have a quick fort drop on the carbon team, by the carbon team, against this green outpost. Just a bucky or two. Beppo does see that and jumps on that, saving the ratchet. Little does he know he's actually been useful. Tries to heal it up, loses his train of thought, carries the ratchet back towards middle, and is probably going to drop it on top of some carbon units to get killed. That would be the most likely scenario. Now, MonsterScuff is putting no resources in trying to defend his own base, so carbon team goes full ham in towards the fort, thinking maybe they can get something to happen here. Unfortunately, it is mostly Buckies and Flackers, not a whole lot of main battle tanks, so this is going to be easily repelled. Beppo does manage to get away, is going to try and put in some damage, but he's got a little bit of a short attention span, keeps trying to jump off the fort without actually fully healed, so he's basically in a stun lock at this point. Beppo not actually getting anything done, giving enough time for MonsterScuff to roll in, drop some Longhorn. Kitty, get off the desk. MonsterScuff does whip out his Paladin Overshield. He's going to be putting down those tanks with a shotgun to point blank, using his Q heal to stay healed up. Beppo getting behind. He likes to do it from behind, but unfortunately he is shooting another hog. Those are generally pretty tanky. Where's the hit scan? Not getting the kill. Beppo almost getting killed, but MonsterScuff with the body block. Beppo almost getting the finish on sporefreak, but unfortunately still pretty useless. Beppo not putting in any damage, not even air to ground, does get killed by Guard10. MonsterScuff still trying to make things happen here, but unfortunately most of his units he built are way up at the top left. Kitty, get off. And so sporefreak using Gangsters, the infamous unit that does not have a counter, to basically pick off all of these things from afar. They have an unnaturally long range, unnaturally high hit points, unnaturally high armor, and unnaturally high damage output. But they cost credits. Unfortunately, the credits is largely based on outpost control, and Carbon Team has significantly more outposts, so they can afford it. So what we see is Beppo still uselessly flailing about, trying to kill 1 or 2 Buckies. MonsterScuff is going to salvage this operation, killing multiple Buckies, dropping a Grinder as well. Grinder's a melee unit. Generally not what you would consider a selling point. Kitty, get off. But the Grinder is going to be putting a lot of damage. It's taking out that T99. Does get tagged with the Buckies, though. Beppo trying to get the kill on Guard10, but gets distracted by the Buckies again. Buckies always tender targets. Easy meat. So the Buckies are going to be ultimately bested by Beppo here. And that Carbon push has been stopped. Partially by Beppo's ineptitude, but mostly by MonsterScuff's outrageously pro skills. Being able to carry a teammate that bad so that it makes him look good. And that's really what this is all about. MonsterScuff with multiple tanks, multiple Grinders. The Grinder's going to get dropped behind into these, well, not Jackals, not Jokers. And the damage output is insane. Grinders have heavy armor, but it doesn't matter because gangsters don't give a fuck what kind of armor they're going against. They just kind of take what they want. So now it is turning into something resembling a base race. Beppo's still kind of just shooting clean over the head of everything that's around. Guard10 trying to do it himself. Maybe trying to find the Q heal button, but not actually hitting Q. Unfortunately, standing there doing literally nothing does not actually heal you either. Beppo is actually going to be able to take out these Buckies and mount a defense. MonsterScuff, meanwhile, his push has been repelled by the copious quantities of gangsters. And it looks like MonsterScuff has actually resigned and surrendered in lieu of that push being stopped. I don't think he realized how even that actually was with Beppo back here. But anyway, GG, MonsterScuff putting on a good show. Oh well. Feeling down, feeling disappointed. It's all because of Beppo, but hey, having a useless teammate, that's why we're here.